Right, hello, welcome to my breakdown and prediction for Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, IBF heavyweight title fight. And this is a good fight. I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to this. Wembley Stadium, 96,000 people, breaking the attendance record for a boxing match. Should be a good little fight. We've got a young man in Daniel Dubois. He's currently the IBF champion. Whatever you think of that, he is of course the IBF champion. You've got Anthony Joshua, the former two-time heavyweight champion of the world. And they're going to be fighting Saturday night, Wembley Stadium. Big card, very good card. Excited for it. But let me get into the fight, the nitty gritty. I think Daniel Dubois is going to want to come out. I think he's going to come out fairly slowly, measured, and kind of pick it up as the fight goes on. Try and use his more youthful energy to kind of get the edge in that aspect and trying to maybe carry the fight late and stop AJ late. I think he'll come out behind a jab, wanting to come in and work the body. Now, of course, the thing for Dubois, in my opinion, that is the most troubling part of this fight is his defense. Now, in the three or 4 months he's had since the Hrgovic fight, I don't think he's going to be having his defense isn't going to just improve like that, is it? Obviously, he was getting hit with right hands after right hands after right hands against Filip Hrgovic, but did eventually wear Hrgovic down and stop him on cuts. I think if Dubois has got any chance of defending, and it's obviously he's not going to his guard. I don't think his guard's going to be in tighter. I don't think he's going to move his head much. That's a very hard thing to teach within 3 months, especially if it's a new skill. I think maybe his best chance is when he steps into the jab, gets his shots off, he will kind of step back. He's fairly light-footed, Daniel Dubois. He's got underrated footwork. I think that's his best chance of getting out of the way of the big shots of AJ, is just by stepping back out of the way, because he is very light on his feet, and I do think that's a much easier thing to drill in training camp. Than the other defenses, if you've got good feet, right? Just to step in with your shots, step out, right? Just simple back step. But with that being said, even if he has worked on that, you've got Anthony Joshua, the older, more experienced guy, very good at measuring himself. I think that's what he's going to want to do in his fight. I think he's not going to let too many shots go like he has in his previous fights. I think he's going to stay fairly measured. He's going to pace himself very well. I think he's going to come out, work behind the jab. And I think what he's going to be banking on is just landing that right hand. I said this before, Joshua's a very underrated counter puncher, right? His timing's very good and his accuracy is very, very good. And he's got quick hands, very, very powerful hands. And we've seen this approach from him really in his last 2 fights. Ben Davison's kind of tuned him to work on that more sniper aspect of his game. So he's a bit more of a sniper now as compared to maybe the Hellenius fight and the Jermaine Franklin fight, where this could kind of be perceived as gun shy, because he was kind of working behind the jab and not really throwing that right hand of any kind of spiteful intent, right? But in his recent 2 fights with Ben Davison, he has looked very, very good. Like the Ngannou fight, I know Ngannou's not a boxer, for example, but it still goes to show something, right? And in the Otto Wallin fight, he was coming out, throwing that right hand very spitefully. And you can think of this in earlier fights, which is why I like the fact that Ben Davison's tuned it on him. When he won the heavyweight title against Charles Martin, that was off a counterpunch, right? He's a very underrated counterpuncher, and I think that's what Ben Davison's working on, kind of turning Joshua into more of a sniper. So yeah, that's exactly what I think he's going to do. I think even if Dubois does come out with the plan I said of getting behind the jab, working the body, and maybe trying to use his feet to get out of the way of Joshua, I think Joshua's hand speed and timing is going to be too good. I think he's going to be able to time Dubois coming in, and that hand is going to get to the target too quickly for Daniel Dubois to get out of the way of it, due to Joshua. And that will stop Daniel Dubois due to Joshua just being the naturally harder hitter man, especially compared to Filip Hrgovic, who, by the way, I know I picked Filip Hrgovic to win, despite having a feeling Dubois was going to win. I picked Hrgovic to win. I don't think Hrgovic is very good at all. He was very upright in that fight, no head movement, sloppy feet, predictable, right? Still. But there's another aspect of the fight I want to talk about. What if it just becomes a bit of a dogfight? And I see a lot of people saying that would play into Dubois' favour, because he kind of wants to wear Joshua down. I don't think it does, because whenever we've seen Joshua kind of have to go to the well in his previous fights, like the Klitschko fight, for example, he went to the well in that fight. What happened? He won. The Ruiz fight, he went to the well in that fight. He didn't quit. It was stopped in the corner. He got up from every shot. When we've seen Dubois have to go to the well against Joe Joyce, for example, he's crumbled. I know he had an orbital bone injury in that fight, but he could have chose to carry on. The Usyk fight, for example, had a bit of success, didn't have much success after that, crumbled. So I don't believe that narrative that Dubois would kind of win if it's more of a dogfight. I think the more experienced guy gets that done. And yeah, that's just how I see it going. I see it being a slow contest for the first maybe 2 rounds. I think Josh is going to come out, work behind the jab. He's not going to. Well, he's just going to be using his feet. He's got decent feet. He's going to be using his feet, just working behind that jab, trying to time Daniel Dubois coming in with a right hand. I think Dubois is going to try and work behind his very good jab, by the way, and get behind the body shots and try and time his feet to get out right after that exchange. But I think Joshua's timing, speed, and power. Those three things are just going to get Dubois. Well, no, it's more like timing, speed, power, and natural counterpunching ability, right? That's gonna be what gets Dubois caught in his fight and in trouble. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Anthony Joshua by 7th round knockout. Unfortunately, I don't think Dubois is gonna really get a chance to take a knee in this fight, just because I believe Joshua's. You're gonna get, if you get hit by Hrgovic's shots, fine, whatever. You can deal with that. You get hit by Joshua's shots, you're not. It's very proven that he's not gonna get up. You're not going to get out right. Like, whereas Hrgovic, his resume was very, very padded. Like, the most notable win obviously was Zhang, right, which was a bit controversial. But other than that, was probably Mark Demori, which is a fucking atrocious win. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this fight. Picking Anthony Joshua by 7th round knockout. Should be a good one. I'm very excited for it. The undercard's got some decent fights. Hamza Shiraz versus Tyler Denny. That's a very, very good fight. I like Hamza Shiraz. Very good, very complete fighter, right? Could do it all. Could fight on the inside, fight on the outside. Picks his moments of when to do what, relying on who. He's probably going to keep it long in that fight. Tyler Denny's a fucking good operator, Not a big knockout puncher, but he's a proper fucking underdog, that guy. Like, he's gonna come in there, put his head in his chest and battle. Then you got Buatsi Hutchinson. That's a cracking fight. I might go Hutchinson to win that, And then you got Kakashi Warrington, which is a bit of a pointless one. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on the fight and a few of the other fights. Joshua by 7th round knockout. Goodbye.